Hello, I'm Sarah Coleman Hornsby, and I'm the chair of this year's youth department. My dream of being an Olympic swimmer was shattered at the young age of 9. It was a warm summer day, and my parents took us to Birmingham, Alabama for a quick trip to see family and take a break from the monotonous repetition of summer days back home in Huntsville. We were staying at the Embassy Suites off of Highway 280, and my father had just taken us to Build-A-Bear to create our new best friends for the week, until it would get thrown into the pile of stuffed animals on our beds back home. When my mother took us to the indoor pool at the hotel, I was thrilled. I was giddy just thinking about jumping into the pool and showing my mother that I should join swim team, that I was a strong and fast swimmer. I'm swimming in the 12-foot deep end, splashing and diving, practicing my skills. My brother, 7 at the time, was playing in the shallow end, holding on to the edge. My sister was having a tea party on the stairs with her newly made Build-A-Bear, and my exhausted mother of 3 young children was sitting in the corner reading a book. I called out to her, "Mom, look what I can do," and proceeded to swim to the end of the deep end as fast as I possibly could, splashing and kicking more water out of the pool. I ended my amazing swim with a somersault underwater. "Oh, that's great, baby," she unenthusiastically called out as she pretended like she was paying attention. I swam back to the other side. Out of the corner of my eye, I saw my brother inching towards me, holding on to the wall of the pool. "Coleman, Coleman," he yelled out as he got closer and closer to me. "Can you take me to the deep end of the pool? I can't swim there by myself." Thinking that my swimming skills were superior and that I was basically Olympically skilled by 9, I said yes. He wrapped his cold, wrinkled hands around my shoulder, and I pushed off the side of the pool. We were slicing through the water at what seemed like 50 miles per hour. I was so proud of myself, and my brother was laughing so hard that his face turned a bright pink. We made it until halfway when my legs started to hurt. We slowed down, and then we weren't going anywhere, our heads just barely above the water. And then we sank. We slowly dropped under the surface of the water as our previous momentum had given out. My brother, who hadn't quite mastered swimming yet, kicked and kicked and kicked me down farther from the top. I looked up. I was getting deeper as seconds went by, and I didn't have the power in my 9-year-old body to get myself to the top. All of a sudden, a splash arose above me. I saw the outline of blonde hair and Lululemon shorts. Was it an athleisure-wearing angel coming to take me to heaven? She got closer and closer to me until I was grabbed to the surface of the water, gasping for air. My brother, in one hand sobbing, while I was wrapped in the other, in shock that I was still alive. My mother, a mere 20 feet away from us, saw us under the surface of the water, and her reflexes from years of swim team resurfaced as she dove in fully clothed to save her 2, maybe not so smart children. I didn't step foot into the deep end for the next 1.5 years and never asked my mother to join swim team again. It obviously was not for me. I believe that the reading in Mark relates a lot to this story. When the father describes how his son acts while he is taken over by the demon, he explains that the demon throws the boy to the ground. He foams at the mouth, gnashes his teeth, and becomes rigid. This demon had taken over this boy's body, and I'm sure the boy felt as if he was drowning. He had lost control of his body, lost control of his life. He wasn't holding the reins to his life. God wasn't holding the reins to his life. The demon tried to kill the boy by throwing him in fire or water, and he would send him rolling on the ground, but Jesus brought the boy forward. The demon brought the boy into a convulsion when it saw Jesus. Jesus rebuked the spirit, and then the boy looked dead. He laid on the ground lifeless, and the crowd believed the boy had died. Jesus lifted the boy to the ground, and then he was new again. The disciples asked Jesus why they weren't able to bring the demon out of the boy, and Jesus replied that this kind can only come out by prayer. Many of us get caught up in the daily life and start drowning in the balancing act of faith and routines, the overwhelming and piling up of things that we are supposed to do. We put our relationship with God on the back burner and just try to keep up with life. Hanging out with friends and spending time with family, work, and school. And well, if you're a high school senior like me, college applications and decisions. We start putting in the minimum effort with our relationship with God. Check off going to church on the to-do list, and then you are done until next Sunday. I've always struggled with prayer and making it a constant action throughout my day. When I was in 9th grade, my mother's cancer relapsed for the second time. She went to her doctor in Houston, and my sister, brother, and I were hopping around different houses all separately. A different house every week, crashing with friends, but trying not to overstay our welcome. This went on for 2 months. I strayed away from God. I prayed and prayed for God to heal my mother and bring her home, but I received no answers. I believed that God wasn't listening to me, or even that God wasn't real. Looking back now, I see that he used that experience as a way for me to grow our relationship. Through that time, I prayed with the hope that maybe he would listen to me. I prayed deeply and felt helpless. When my mother came home, happy and healthy, I knew that my prayers did something. They may have helped heal my mother physically, or not. I'm not too sure. But I know that they healed me. They healed my heart that had turned so bitter. They turned me towards the one thing that I should have been focusing on. I started incorporating prayer into my daily life little by little. I prayed every time I got in the car. It was the first thing I did when I woke up and the last thing I did when I went to sleep. I believe that God used this bump in the road to flourish my relationship with him and help me realize the power of prayer in a relationship with God. I think that this reading proves how important prayer is in our daily lives. God can only rescue us through having a relationship with him. And the first step in that is to have a healthy and active prayer life. How can you have a relationship with someone that you don't talk to? Like Jesus rescued the boy from his demons, and my mother rescued my brother and I from drowning, God can rescue us from our worries and struggles if we connect with him through prayer.